Hey everybody, I am Pastor Tony Roberts of the Victory Worship Center Church located in Tucker, Georgia. I want to thank you for joining us today. I believe that what you're about to experience is going to not just change the rest of your day, but it's going to change the rest of your life. Here at Victory Worship Center, we are transcending from hurting to healing to victorious living. And I'm not sure what platform you're watching us on, whether it's Facebook or YouTube, but whatever it is, please like, follow, and subscribe. I also want you to be interactive with us. Send us your comments, send us your prayer requests. Here at Victory Worship Center, we absolutely are building people for kingdom purposes. We welcome you and thank you for joining us again.
Happy Thursday. We're here live from the Victory Worship Center in Tucker, Georgia, and just wanted to come on and welcome you all to the Love from Afar Recovery Cafe. And wanted to just say, hey, thanks for being here. Thanks for being in the studio. Thanks for actually in the church. We're in no studio. Thanks for being in the church. Thanks for being on live. And just want to let everybody know that if you do nothing else, once a week, find yourself some time to just digress, right? So my mind told me that we would always start out with breathing because I just don't know what everybody had on their books today, on their schedules, just what was life for you today. So we're going to start off with great breathing. So I want you to all, if you're sitting down, just place your feet flat on the ground. Close your eyes. Make sure you drop your hands. You can lay them on the side if you're standing, on your knees and your thighs if you're sitting. And just take 3 deep breaths with me. I mean deep from the diaphragm. We're going to breathe in. We're going to hold it for about 4 seconds, and then we're going to let it out. And we're going to do that 3 times. So come with me. Let's start breathing. 1, 2, 3. Breathe in. Breathe out. Again, breathe in. Breathe out. One more time. Breathe in. Hold it. Hold it. Breathe out. Great. What we're going to talk about today is healing. Just what is it, right? We've spent the last 11 months moving through 2025, and people have, in every avenue, talked about mental health, trauma, grief, addictions, alcohol, drugs, sex, gambling. Everybody has had these things on their plate that they wanted to escape from. But what exactly are you escaping, right? If you said you wanted to heal, because we have so much on our plates, what are we starting first with? Like, right, what you starting first with? What you gonna heal first? When there's so much on your plate, it's almost like your Thanksgiving dinner and your Christmas dinner all together. So it's too much to handle. You know how you get your dinners and you put it all on your plate and you're trying to see what you're going to eat first? Or for those who don't like their food to touch, those kind of people. But you got to decide how much you can intake. And with the 11 months into the year, we all have intaked so much that we've tried to process. So have we really healed? And are we in the healing process? Have we fell back a little bit and then realized I did start doing the work, I didn't finish, so I probably could jump back in it. But I need you to know that the average person doesn't know who or what or where to heal. They don't even know what. They don't know what it really looks like. Because social media, let me be clear, has destroyed so many lives by thinking this is what it should be. And then you get confused with it because you wake up and you see this on a post. And before you go to bed, you see that on the post. And then while you're driving or you're working or whatever you're doing, you see more things on the post. But are they really helping you heal? Do you really have the proper tools to heal? So the first thing I want you to talk about when I talk about today is the importance of healing. Healing comes at a cost of you understanding exactly what it is you need to do. So if it ruffles your feathers, if it irritates you, if it makes you angry, if it got you feeling like I'm sick of this, I'm tired of this, and you put more energy into it, that's probably something you need to heal from. If you see it and you just feel like, oh, here we go again, that right there in that moment tells you you probably need to heal from it. If you keep giving people passes to hurt you or keep giving people passes to just basically give you a sense of desire to say, ugh, I'm sick of that, you probably need to heal from that. So start determining, one is what you need to heal from. And most of it is your past, because we hold on to stuff so long. It's stuff that we already been through, but we never gave it any attention. We never paid attention to it. We just let it fester, and it started being like a plague and a virus in our bodies, because next thing you know, 10 years has passed, and everyone knows the average human holds 3,000 days of trauma at minimum, with 365 days in a year. 10 years of trauma, that's 3,650 days. And what you're finding yourself doing is holding on to the trauma so long, it becomes normal. So what exactly do we need to heal from? So I always say this, let's go back to conception. If you don't know where your brain has taken your feet, and you can't really go back to the first thing that really bothered you, I suggest you start with this. I suggest you start with your year of birth, right? I want you to get a piece of paper. I want you to get that piece of paper, and I want you to write down the first year you were born. This is the beginning of it all, right? The year you were born. So for me, 1971, right? So I write down 1971 on a piece of paper, and then I make a line across the paper. We're going to do it horizontally, okay? So we're going to do a line across the paper, and then we go to the very first memory that we have. Now, for me, it was just 5 years old, right? So 5 years old, I remember we had my 5th birthday party, and Diana Ross says, I'm coming out. I want the world to know. That was a song that I just loved. My parents played it all the time, and Diana Ross had that big old afro, and I loved to see it, right? So my hair was, don't do this, but my hair was kind of curly, nappy. Yep. So I could hold the afro, but know that when they combed it, it was going to hurt. Yep. So I wanted the afro anyway, though. And my mother told me, basically, I can remember this like it was yesterday. You can't wear your hair like that because you're going to cry every time I try to comb it. But my dad defended me that particular day and said, it's her birthday. Let her do what she want, right? Oh, yeah. I remember the party was amazing. But that next Sunday, the party was on a Saturday and Sunday was church. And boy, I remember probably still being in church like crying because it was nappy, right? And it hurt. And she told me what she was going to do, and that's what she did. So I remember crying. So that's my first memory. It's my 5th birthday. Now, birth to 5, I don't remember. I've tried. And you can't let someone tell you. You have to know it yourself. You got to remember it in your brain. So we got to do this artichoke peel process. And I suggest you start with significant things like birthdays, Christmases, schools, friends, teachers. Where were you? What year was it, right? And that's how you create your list. And then the first thing that I remember negatively was being molested in my house at 6. So that's my pro, was my birthday, and my con was the molestation. So my mind had artichoked a lot of the things in my life because of the molestation. I tried to do the sweep under the rug syndrome. It didn't work for me. I realized that it was destroying me and every part of me. So I had to find myself a way to say, hey, I got to let this go. But it wasn't until many years down the road. But for the most part, you just want to get a timeline of events. On the top of your timeline, put your pros. On the bottom of your timeline, put your cons, and let your mind expand. Let it open back up. See exactly what you need to heal from. Because the majority of us are healing from childhood traumas. And we've been holding them so long, we seem to think we can move in our adulthoods without dealing with them. But it's like this pot that you keep putting stuff into, which is your body and your mind. And the pot sits on hot water. And then the pot is like hot water on a hot flame. But the pot is you, right? The pot is your body. And you're constantly dumping all of the things that are in there, thinking that you can cover it up with the top. But then something else happens and you take the top off to put it back in there. And then the pot begins to bubble, 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 bubble. And when the next thing happens and you explode, here you got some stuff that ran over. And you don't have room for anything else because you've never dealt with some of the things from when you were younger. What exactly do we need to heal from? What is it that you've been struggling with? How long have you been holding it? How do you find out what your process is and what exactly you need to tackle? So I'm going to take some questions. I want to make sure that I don't leave anybody out, and I can actually take some questions and make sure that we have these questions get answered. You had a question in the back? Yes.
Yes, Dr. Williams, what is the absolute best way? I hear you telling them to write their pros and cons down, but what is the absolute best way for people to actually begin to touch the thing that hurt them? In other words, when I say touch it, face it.
Great question. Really great question. So the question was, what's the absolute way to begin to touch or face the things that really hurt you? And it's just to accept that it has happened. So the first thing is just say, hey, yep, this happened to me. I didn't like how it felt. I didn't like that I had to go through it. I didn't like that it was me. I kind of wish it was somebody else, even though it was bad for me. I don't like that happened to me. I really wish I could escape it, but I can't. So the first thing I got to do is face that it happened. And when it happened to me, I didn't like it. So now I got to put myself in a position to say, hey, you know what? Yep. Just like me. I share this all the time. The molestation happened. It happened. I couldn't change it. It happened. I tried to escape it. I tried to sweep it under the rug because they told me to. They told me you weren't supposed to talk about stuff. No. It got irritating for me, but not so much until I had a child. I'm like, oh, yeah, no, that won't happen to them. Nope, that's it. The buck stops here. So you got to just face it. I mean, head on, not like a little Shih Tzu. I'm talking about like a pit bull, like, oh, I hate that happened to me, but I've accepted that it's happened, and it will no longer control my life. I hope that answered your question.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So just first thing is, what do you need to heal from? So let's tackle it, right? Let's dive into it. What is it that you have to find yourself struggling with that bothers you so much that you recognize and say, hey, this has lasted too long in my body? If it's over 5 days, that's too long. If it's in 5 months, that's even longer. If it's up to a year, that's way too long. And now decide how many people really have been holding stuff longer than a year. It's just too long, right? So you got to first accept. Why? Why are you really holding it? What's the purpose of really holding something that somebody did to you? Why are you holding it? You want some get back or something? You want to be like, no, I ain't get enough. I don't feel like if I did something to them, I need to make sure they feel how I feel. Yeah, no. So you may not never get the karma. That don't mean they don't feel the karma. You just may not be able to see the karma when it comes. They sure go. Anybody that does anything to anybody with a problem towards the person, with deceit involved, they gonna get it back. Trust me. We just want to see it. Right? We want to see somebody be like, yeah, I wish the car could run over him, or, yeah, that ain't going to happen. It's just, you're not going to see it brutally. But people try to equate their pain to the inside, the pain inside the body, to something harmful to someone who hurt you. And that's not how God would do it anyway. He ain't going to just let nobody leave. Just go like, yeah, God, could you make sure they get murdered? Oh, no. And the sad part about it all is he loves the people we hate. He loves the people we hate. He loves the people that have hurt us. And we in our minds thinking, you got to do something about this. Now, I am a firm believer he knows that they have hurt you. I do know that, right? There is no way. But if we start to look at the things that people have done to us as a growth spurt, that if they did it, maybe it's just for us to have gone through it so we can teach someone else how we got through it, we wouldn't hold it so long. Because what you got to recognize is you didn't go through that just for you. You went through that for your legacy. You went through that so your children could know how to come through that. You went through that so your grandkids will know how to go through that. Because most of the things that we've been through is a test. It's a test for us. And it's a test to see what we will make, exactly what we need to go through, so those that are coming behind us can understand how to go through it, right? If you think about how a relationship goes with young girls when they first get into relationships, and then they have a daughter, and then the daughter tell them, he hurt my feelings, he did this. Your mind and body gonna go instantly to the first time that man hurt your feelings. And you're going to be able to tell her what you want to tell her, good, bad, or indifferent, about how to handle that situation. See, the problem is we got to be realistic. We have to be authentic with people, with children, especially our own. You know what? I might have just said that it probably was too early for you to date anyway. I probably should have had a clause on that. But sometimes people have this thing in their family when they think it's cute when somebody come home and say they got a boyfriend, or he got a girlfriend, and it's cute. But that's because everybody's always looking for someone to get the love they don't have. So they thinking, oh, my daughter got a girlfriend. I'm sorry. My son got a girlfriend. My daughter got a boyfriend. And we talking about it. But are they mentally equipped? No. Question.
So you mentioned rather, about how people want to see others hurt that have hurt them. And you were right, that's not a proper perspective. Just to give Bible on that, because that's just kind of what I do.
Yeah.
Luke chapter 6, verses 35 through 38 says this. It says, "But ye love your enemies and do good and lend, hoping for nothing again. And your reward shall be great. And ye shall be the children of the highest, for he is kind unto the unthankful and to the evil. But ye therefore merciful as your Father, but be ye therefore merciful as your Father is merciful. Judge not, and ye shall not be judged. Condemn not, and ye shall not be condemned. Forgive, and ye shall be forgiven." And it's capped with a scripture that has been used for giving or pastors leading offering for years. And the context of this, while it's not necessarily out of context to talk about money, the context of this is talking about everything that preceded it. And that's Luke 6, chapter 6 and verse 38. Give, and it shall be given. You ever heard this?
Yeah.
Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Then it says, "Shall men give back into your bosom? For with the same manner that ye meet withal, it shall be measured unto you again." So I have a saying here at our ministry. We when people come and they say, "I'm just tired of people mistreating me. I'm tired of people not having patience or mercy or judgment," and usually, or judging me. And those are usually the most judgmental people.
Facts.
They lack so much mercy. They have so much unforgiveness. And so what I, in return, say in love is, if you don't like what you're getting back, change what you're putting out.
Facts. That's a good point. That's a good point. I got a question, though, for you.
Yes.
Why do you think, and people always ask me, but I want to ask others, why do you think people really hold something towards somebody who has hurt them verbally, right, mentally, not physically so much, because we understand that personally, but the verbal thing, because I always start to equate it to this. It has probably been given or said to you before, and you didn't know how to handle it, and then it came up again, and you still didn't know how to handle it. But instead of you being mature in your healing to understand how to say, hey, this happened before, I can either take this way or let it go this way, or feel the same way I did the very first time. But I'd like to hear your view on why you think people really hold that stuff so long.
So you mentioned something that's paramount. You said when someone say something and it maybe comes from another person, they hear it again.
Yeah.
So the first statement was a seed.
Facts. Okay.
The second statement watered the seed. So now it's producing, has productive qualities in your spirit, in your mind, in your soul. And so now you're starting to reflect and look and say, is this true about me? And the best thing you could have done when you heard it the first time was pray and release it. But most people don't do that, because typically those type words or those type assessments come from people you're not expecting them to come from.
Family, friends.
Family and friends.
And lovers. And
lovers. And it usually comes at a point when the person that you weren't expecting to say that to you is now angry.
Confrontation.
Confrontation.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Makes sense.
So now, watch this. You're vulnerable from the confrontation.
Yeah.
So you're fertile.
Come on. Yeah.
You hear what I'm saying? So now when they say this to you, the words hit different. It hits different because you're vulnerable from the confrontation. It's coming from somebody that you didn't expect it to come from, typically somebody close to you. And then the second time, God forbid, it's a similar scenario.
Yeah.
Well, now you're standing back and you're looking at yourself because you're dealing with the productive quality of what has been planted in you. It's producing now because you're hearing it a second time.
Right.
And so now you're beginning to reflect on yourself. When the best thing that you can do, I'm not telling you not to have a moment of self-reflection. What I'm telling you to do is reflect. And if you see elements of what they said, release it. Forgive yourself, which is your thing and how you minister to people. Forgive yourself and move on from it. That's the only way you're going to not, because typically, if you hear it again now, you know, it starts to take you over the edge and anxiety builds up because now you've heard it a third time.
Yeah, great points. But I want to piggyback off of that, because the majority of the people that feel that is from those that say they love you.
Right.
right?
Right.
Whether, and something your mama can say something to you, and you're going to chuckle about it because it's just her. You like, mama, like, whatever. But when your boyfriend or your girlfriend says the same thing your mama said, it just hit differently for some
It
reason.
does. Now, can I piggyback on something you just said?
Absolutely.
Because you said if your mother says something, you're going to chuckle.
Yeah.
Well, actually, those are the most damaging words. Let me tell you why. Because if you're from a broken home like I was,
Okay.
and you heard your mom talk about your dad, talk about your dad, talk about your dad, talk about your dad,
Yeah.
and then in her moment of anger, she turns and tells you, you're
Same
just like your daddy. Well, now that's a seed that's sown in you.
Absolutely.
And you're looking at where you've come from. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And seeds produce harvests.
Absolutely.
It just is what it is. So those words from that person can be the most damaging. Husbands and wives,
Right.
those words can be the most damaging. And it's always crazy to me, and I don't mean to take your session.
No, you're
but
not. We're having conversation. That's what it's about. We dialogue.
It is always baffling to me
Yeah.
how two people that are in love at a moment of dissension, the love is undetectable.
That's deep.
The love is undetectable
Until when?
until the dissension passes, if it passes.
Yeah.
If
Good
it's
point.
divorce,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's hell.
Yeah.
And those words become darts,
Very much so.
spears, knives, and ultimately bullets.
Because what did your mother give you? What was that we talk about all the time? There was something that your mother gave you that because she talked to you that way and made you feel very little in that moment, it's a title for that now, right? We just talked about it, childhood trauma.
Childhood trauma.
Right? And we don't resolve that. So we take that into every adult relationship we have. And by the time we take it into adult relationship, we'll blame the adult about what we brought into our relationship and still fear to blame the mama.
Right.
So we got to unlearn some stuff, and we got to unlearn the things with our family and our children and everybody and say, hey, mama was wrong. It's okay. She was wrong, right? Because you have to understand, I always use that analogy when people ask about, this is a perfect timing during Thanksgiving, right? And the whole ham thing, the whole ham concept. I'll talk about it for those who don't know. So the young girl is helping her mother cook Thanksgiving dinner. And as she's helping her mother cook the dinner, she's prepping. Mama don't have no recipes. She's literally repeating what she saw her mother teach her. Sprinkle a little bit for that season, 2 cups of that. I don't know the measurement. I just know 2 of them cups. And so we doing the things that we say to do. And then she says, hey, Mom, tell me, why did you throw that part of the ham away? And she was like, no, we're going to leave it in the freezer. Don't throw it away. Put it in the Ziploc, put it in the freezer. She said, well, why you put it in the freezer? Why don't you just use it? No, we're going to use it later on. Her mindset says we're going to use that ham for stew. It's going to be cold, we're going to use that bone to cook with later on, right? So she says, well, why do you do it that way? She's like, I don't know, your grandmother taught me that. Call your grandmother and see. And so she calls her grandmother, hey, Grandma, why did you do that? She said, I didn't have enough room in the pan. And so we just realized instead of throwing it away, we would put it in the freezer and use it for another meal. But sometimes that just shows you how we don't really know why we do some of the things we do from our parents. We just repeat the cycles over and over and over again. That has happened for you? Okay.
It was told differently, though.
Yeah.
It was my grandmother with the turkey.
Okay.
It was like, Grandma never put the legs was on the turkey. She would take them off. And we were like, why would you take the legs off the turkey? I never understood it.
Yeah.
And she was like, because it didn't fit in the pan.
Yeah.
Back then, it was certain size pans, rather. So that was that story from that.
Yeah.
So that was so familiar. But yeah,
But that's
some things, that's like you were saying, some things we have to unlearn.
Yeah.
Because I became an adult and kept taking the legs off, but that was crazy because I liked the legs.
Yes.
So I just never understood why I was taking the legs off until my grandma said, she was like, girl, you don't got to take them legs off. We was taking it off because my grandma took it off. Her pan was too little.
Yeah.
Like all this time I've been taking this.
Which we glad that they did, because the leg be all you need sometimes,
Sure
right?
is. That's what I said. I'm glad I unlearned that.
Exactly. Exactly. Something else, though. Something that you needed to unlearn that you have to give your daughter. Anything. Something else. Think about it. I'm going to come back to you.
While she's thinking about
Yeah.
things she needed to unlearn,
Yeah.
I want to deal with one other thing because we
Sure.
just talked about, we're talking about, I referenced the parent-child relationship. So here's a big pet peeve of mine.
Okay.
Hearing parents, and I'm still dealing with the seed thing.
Yeah.
And the words that we talked about earlier. Hearing parents tell their children that they're bad. I can't stand it.
No.
I
You
hate
don't
it.
like that?
No, because you're planting seeds.
Okay.
What do you
What is
think that
bad?
child becomes?
Define bad when you hear his parents say that.
When I hear them say you're bad,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm thinking from a child's mind. They can only differentiate. They're thinking of the contrast rather between bad and good.
Let's go back to you saying I can't stand it. What do you define the bad that you think is being planted in the child?
Just the word itself.
Okay.
The word itself, because they know, most children at an early age know what being bad is.
So you think if they hear it as a child, they're going to be this bad person because the parent instilled it verbally?
Because the parent instilled it verbally. Now, you can teach them that their behavior is bad,
Okay.
but you don't, in totality, tell the child that they're bad.
What about when they are?
When they are bad, it's behavior.
Absolutely. How do you
Yeah.
define? How do you suggest someone says it?
You could tell them that you could tell them, hey, listen, right now you're acting bad or you're being bad, but you don't just in totality tell a child, in my opinion, you're bad.
So I want to challenge you to look at it a different way. That's why I asked, because people don't know how to say it because that's how we grew up with. That joker bad. He know he bad.
And they, we add other stuff on it.
Absolutely.
You bad.
Yeah, for sure. I always educate people to tell their children, let's check your behavior right now.
Right.
Instead of you're bad, you're good, because it's no really equate to it. Like, hey, hold on a second. Let's check your behavior right now.
Right.
And then you're asking a child, you think that what you're doing is right? Right.
Right.
So because people don't communicate with kids enough.
Right.
Right. Adults have just allowed us to think it's supposed to be their way,
Right.
which is why we unlearning so much stuff.
That part.
If we want to be clear, right? They just instilled in us that the whole discipline of being a parent was what they needed to do because they held the power of being the parent.
Right.
But they only did what they saw.
Right.
They only repeated what they knew. So sometimes we have to communicate. When people used to laugh and say that European or Caucasian people would talk to their children for many, many times without giving them a whooping, and we like, no, Billy need a whooping. I don't know what do you, right? But then you start thinking about it. They were educating them on how to pay attention to what they're doing, and that is outside of the norm. And we just know, let's just get beat, right? Let's just get beat. So, I equate it to the fact that I always believe that a lot of people were abused, right? And it was because of the lack of communication.
Right.
Had really nothing to do with the fact that the kid was doing something in that moment outside of what they taught them. It very rarely was that. It was more the kid doing it in the midst of me thinking my thought on how to pay the bill, how to feed y'all, how to do this, and you just disrupted my thought when I was already frustrated and you about to get a whooping.
Right. And can I add to that real quick?
Absolutely.
Because I'm not negating the fact that our parents gave us or parented us out of the capacity that they could parent us.
Yeah.
In other words, we're at an age now where we have information and it's at our fingertips. So we know better. And I'm just saying, if we know better, we should do better.
Yeah.
And so when you start to talk about generational curses and breaking down those walls and those barriers within the realm of your family, I think verbally and verbal encouragement to your children is one of the places that you should start.
Yeah.
Because when I was growing up and I got beat, my mama didn't come and tell me why she beat me. She figured I knew.
Yeah.
And nor did she love on me after she beat me.
Absolutely.
She just figured, you know what you did, you deserve what you got, go to your room or go do whatever it is you about to do, but wipe that. As a matter of fact, they told, because I was a boy, shut up.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you something to cry for.
Don't be crying, right?
Don't be crying, right.
Yeah.
But now, so I have 2 sons. I have 3 to be in totality. But I teach my boys, as I discipline them growing up, No, I'm going to tell you what you did because I want you to be educated about why it is you're being disciplined.
Okay.
Then I'm going to love on you afterwards because I need you to know whatever punishment that I just administered was administered in love, not out of hate or anger.
Okay.
And I had to do it
Yeah.
because if I didn't do it, you would repeat the cycle of
Absolutely.
the behavior you just performed.
Absolutely. And I think that whole spare the rod scripture, people don't really, it was in there for a purpose, right? It's not just because people ain't supposed to beat their kids, but you gotta teach some discipline. But because they didn't properly know how to be disciplined, I believe that it just was a cycle that our ancestors endured because they were beat for things they didn't do, and it just trickled down till the kids started fighting back. And it was like, hold on, wait a minute, now they fighting back. It was interesting, and I was pretty disturbed by the news today about that pastor that had beat his stepson, and he has a huge following. I mean, people was really just following him, and it bothered me. I got to read more up on it really before I really kind of dive in, but it's crazy that we were talking about that, and this man had people from all over the world following him, and that I think it's the 1829 church, something it's called. But yeah, he beat his stepson. He got arrested today. He beat his stepson, right? Yeah. And so now it's this big roar on TV, and young folks are saying that's why they don't want to go to church. I hate that. Yeah, I hate that. So I want kids to understand, let's just learn to communicate more, right? Let's put up in our place where we have to say, we got to communicate with our kids, and I believe discipline doesn't have to always come out like that. I think that a lot of the traumas we're dealing with is because we literally are not communicating because there's too much pain inside of us. We don't know how to heal enough to teach our children or talk to our children because didn't nobody teach us. So I just feel like if we get back to what we need to heal from, I need people to define what you need to heal from. Like, get into what that thing is. What have you held so long, right? What is on you? Because it's trickling into everything we touch and everywhere we go. People are starting to equate it, but the whole, end of the year thing is real. Like, we've suffered so much through the year that this November is like the last stretch of the Mohicans, right? And then all the people going to have everything up in the Christmas stuff, and you're going to realize, and it's going to be January, then it's going to be Halloween, and then right back again, and you're going to miss a whole nother year. So don't let that healing go into the next year with you. Define the things you need to heal from, right? When you define that, find out for yourself, what do you need to heal from? And start with the smallest things, right? I always say if you start with the breakups, right? The breakups are not just your intimate lovers, it's your family, it's your siblings. That sibling rivalry runs so far into other relationships you have because you don't really know how to deal with people because those that was in your house, you never got a crutch on it. Like, you never really figured it out. So you're going to either have the same kind of relationships with the people outside, or you're going to have a better one to prove to your siblings you're not the person they said you were. So define that, right? What is the healing process? So did you come up with something you want to teach your daughter that you need to unlearn? Yeah, something you got from your mother that you didn't like it, and you trained your daughter differently.
That would be holding things in.
Okay. So you talk more.
Who?
Do y'all talk more since you don't hold it in?
No, I need to unlearn that.
Oh, you need to unlearn it. Okay.
I didn't taught her that. She holds a lot in.
Okay.
And she's getting that. She got that from me. So now I'm unlearning it in the process.
Okay.
So I want to teach her that.
Gotcha.
Like, you have to unlearn. You got to be able to open up, because that's something I regret with my mother.
Yes.
She held a lot in. Even to this day, my mother passed away, and I kept a lot of things from her.
Oh, wow.
That she didn't even know about. And now my healing process, I feel like it's hard for me to heal because it's like, who do I talk to?
Right.
Like, how do I let this out now?
Yeah.
Because the person who I really wanted to know this is gone.
So I'm going to teach you a step with that. I'm going to teach you a step. I'll teach you how to still talk to the person that has left. They're left in the physical, right? I want people to recognize that we haven't died yet, so I don't know what we're going to learn when we get to heaven. But I do know this. Most of our parents will understand the story when it's over, right? They actually, I believe anybody understands the story when it's over, right? It's this famous movie called The Shack, S-H-A-C-K. And I use that with my clients on like session 4 or 5. And I tell them, watch The Shack. And the reason I tell them to watch The Shack is it depicts God, Jesus, the Holy Spirit in human form, right? And the person who's in the movie is just like, he don't know what's going on, right? Like, whatever. But when he meets them, basically through a dream, for lack of better words, they're empowering him that it's the generational barriers that you can step out of, and it can keep whirling around until everybody in the bloodline steps out of it to make a change. It's only a choice to say, why am I holding it in? Right? Why? What does it mean? What, you fear something? Are you fearing the argument that's going to happen if you say something? Are you fearing hurting someone's feelings if you say something? What and why do you hold it in? Well, because no one really taught us how to do that, we started recognizing that we've spent a lot of time holding things in unnecessarily, and our children got it just by way of us having the mere act of sex, right? The DNA transferred, and you didn't even have to teach her that, right? You see that. You didn't even have to teach her that, right? For me, one of the biggest things was teen parent pregnancy. I do believe this. I do believe that children are created no matter what if God says so, right? Because if that's the case, every time we had sex, we'd be pregnant, right? But the full sense of teaching, right, that my mother was a teen parent, her grandmother was a teen parent, I was a teen parent, I'm like, nah, we ain't doing that. So I started changing the things that they let me be comfortable with, because I'm really the direct person to make the change. So you would be really the direct person to make the change. So when it was time for her to say, hey, I want to go to a party, I'm like, okay, cool, yeah. So I'm watching what she got on. I'm driving you. I'm picking you up. I don't care if you go at 9:45. I'm picking you up at 11. I'm drop you off. I might as well wait in the car till you get ready to come, but you not closing the club up, right? You not closing out a party. So I used to always empower her on things that nobody taught me that I saw from afar growing up. So the things that you do, and I just gave that to say, when you really want to teach your children or someone how you feel about things that you didn't like in your upbringing, it's just a matter of stepping into it and saying, enough is enough. We ain't doing that, right? So I'll give you a tool to help you kind of figure that out, write it out. It's something that you'll do. It's a tool that you can do to your mom, and then release it, and then ask God to give you direction on how you handle it with your daughter. But the tool is very profound. You're going to love it. And you're going to find yourself not only doing it with your mom, but you'll do it with everybody that's really, if you held it with her, you've held it with more people than her, because that's how we do it, right? But it's a really simple thing. I think that we just let it, and then years go by. How long has your mom been passed? Yeah, see? That's a long time. Wow. How old were you? Okay. Yeah. So that's a long time to have not really just said, hey, let's do it. And how old is your daughter? So see, that's almost as long as her whole life, right? Yeah. So go ahead.
It's communication.
Yeah.
That's what I basically have to do. Just teach her to communicate.
Yeah.
Let's communicate.
And learn while you're teaching her.
Yeah.
right?
That's why I
Learn
said
with
I have
her. Yeah, learn with her, and that's okay. You know, I like that. We're going to learn a lot. I was saying, I was on the radio today, and I said, we're going to learn a lot from our kids if we just listen to them. Because they sat back and they watched us grow up. They watched people hurt us. They watched us overcome it or not. And so they've decided, I ain't doing that, right? We got to now go back and be like, no, don't say you're not going to get married. I just picked the wrong joker, right? don't say you're not getting married. You can do it. I got faith in you. But sometimes we've let them think, yeah, this ain't that. We don't want to do that. But I want y'all to realize that, listen, our kids are going to teach us so much if we just listen. But talk to them more, right? All right, well, I just want to tell y'all, thank you so much for coming out. We're going to close this out. And no, we'd love to have you here. Stay with us online. And we're going to begin in January going through a mental health book called Better Healed Than Unhealed, authored by myself. And it's 12 tools. We're going to go through it. We're going to make sure that after each session, the next week, we're going to come back into it. So be looking out for it. We'll give you the information. We'll put the link for the book in the chat and the link for the book online, YouTube and Facebook. And you can find it on our church site. You definitely can find it on my page. But thank you so much for coming out with us tonight. We appreciate you staying in. We appreciate you watching. And remember, do your timeline, your pros, your cons, and start with that thing that you need to start healing with. And let's see if we can get you through the end of the year so you start your 2026 better healed than unhealed. And we're out.